Excellencies, honorable ministers, distinguished heads of delegation, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta of the Republic of Kenya and his special guest, His Excellency President Danny Faure of Seychelles, and other dignitaries as they walk in to grace this closing ceremony. Let us please give them a warm round of applause. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let us also welcome into the hall the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable William Ruto.
I am Principe. I'm 31 million years old, and I'm nature at its purest. I rise from the ocean. My forests reach for the sky. My trees connect heaven to earth. And from my soil, everything grows and everything changes. Every day. Flowers, fruits, smells, colors, emotions. I live in a fragile but lasting balance. Harmony between man and nature. That's who I am. Listen. In me, the game of life renews itself every single day. I'm a cradle. I'm food. I'm cocoa and I'm coffee. I'm sweet. I'm fashion. I'm music. I'm warm. I am the horizon. I'm life and I'm discovery. I'm ancient and I'm new. I'm history and I'm hope. Like me, my people are unique, earth-connected, and brave. We all share the art of welcome, embracing every kind and every color found beneath the sun. I am Principe, and I have a dream. To prove we can evolve without harming nature. To show everyone the world that exists within me. This is my dream, and it's becoming true. Let it be yours. Come and find yourself in Principe.
And that video produced by the Autonomous Region of Principe in Sao Tome and Principe highlights the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference. Excellencies, honorable ministers, distinguished heads of delegation, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this closing ceremony of the first Sustainable Blue Economy Conference. We have had a truly historic 3 days as 17,600 delegates participated in over 64 side events. We thank you all for your most welcome participation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to invite Ambassador Monica Juma, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Kenya, to present the highlights of the discussions on the Statement of Intent. Welcome, Madam Secretary.
Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Excellency Deputy President, Honorable Ministers, Heads of Delegation, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. 2 years ago, during the third session of the United Nations General Assembly, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta made a commitment to the world to convene the just concluded Global Sustainable Blue Economy Conference, and this commitment has come to pass. In the last 3 days, the world has converged in Nairobi. More than 17,000 of us have all been part of a stimulating and informative engagement on the global sustainable blue economy. Earlier this afternoon, we held useful discussions and exchange of views on the potential and important role of the blue economy. At the Leaders' Circle, we reiterated some of the key issues contained in the Nairobi Statement of Intent on advancing global sustainable blue economy. The Statement of Intent represents key political messages out of this conference. We can only hope that it will serve as a basis and reference point not only for the work of this conference, but also for future engagements, discourse, and activities related to the blue economy. During the Leaders' Circle, my colleague, Honorable Jonathan Wilkinson, the Minister of Fisheries, Oceans, and the Canadian Coast Guard, highlighted the following points as contained in the Statement of Intent, focusing on needed action in 8 key areas. 1, the need to promote action-oriented global strategies that place people and the blue economy resources at the center of sustainable development as a contribution to the realization of the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the SDGs. Second, the need to promote collaboration for sustainable partnerships and projects in the various sectors of the blue economy for economic growth, poverty alleviation, and conservation of the resources of the present and future generations. 3, the need to mobilize resources such as finance from public and private sources, access to technologies and innovations, as well as capacity building among local, national, and international stakeholders for the full realization of the potential of the blue economy. 4, the need to promote the role of women in the blue economy and identifying the barriers and opportunities to further empower women and encourage their role in positions of leadership. This intent stems from recognizing that gender equality and the empowerment of women will build a more peaceful, more inclusive, and more prosperous world. 5, the need to strengthen science and research to generate and disseminate evidence-based knowledge and information on advancing sustainable blue economy. 6, the need to strengthen science policy interface of the blue economy resources to inform decision-making. 7, the need to strengthen governance mechanism for a sustainable blue economy, including by raising awareness and ensuring stakeholder participation in policy and decision-making. 8, the need to promote sharing of innovations, sharing of technologies, and best practices and experiences within and across regions. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to request this conference to take note of the final document entitled the Nairobi Statement of Intent on Advancing Global Sustainable Blue Economy, which encompasses the vision and the intent of all governments here and stakeholders, including the business community and the private sector, the scientific and research community, the civil society, and international partners, to be used as a reference point for future action and collaboration on the blue economy. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I now wish to thank you all for your active participation. In fact, the complaint we had was about how people could not get to various places they wanted to be at the same time. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is very proud to have chaired and executed the preparations of the Global Sustainable Blue Economy Conference, and we are sincerely grateful to our local and international partners for their material support and collaboration. May I now invite my colleague, Honorable Jonathan Wilkinson, Minister of Fisheries, Oceans, and the Canadian Coast Guard, to give a vote of thanks. I thank you.
President Kenyatta, Excellencies, fellow ministers, heads of delegation, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It has been very gratifying to witness over 17,000 participants from around the globe come together in Nairobi to focus on how we build a sustainable, inclusive, and prosperous blue economy. As you've heard earlier from me and you've just heard from Minister Juma, the Nairobi Statement of Intent is exactly that. A statement of intent to take action, bold action. Le Canada s'est engagé à travailler en coopération.
Canada is therefore ready to work with this partnership, renewing and strengthening Africa in order to facilitate this work and take measures that are concrete.
Kenya and all other countries present, building on renewed and strengthened partnerships in Africa and around the world to take action. At this conference, we discussed the need to generate concrete results. Several actions have already been highlighted in the Nairobi Statement of Intent and by Minister Juma. Part of taking action is for us to collectively follow through on processes and commitments already made, including the HE commitments that many of us have made to establishing protected areas, including the Commonwealth Blue Charter process that is actively underway. Part of taking action is joining with initiatives that are focused on specific issues of importance that are already ongoing, such as the International Alliance on Ocean Acidification and the Global Ghost Gear Initiative. And I would encourage all of you to consider joining those. Part of taking action is the extraordinary list of specific commitments that heads of state and heads of delegation made on the first day of this conference that our host Kenya has compiled. And from my perspective, a few other specific concepts and specific action items raised at this conference and generated by this conference that are worth highlighting would include fisheries management, and particularly the sharing of experiences and best practices, was a theme that emerged at this conference. As a concrete action flowing from this session, Canada is committed to leading the development of the concept that was generated here of a knowledge hub to create a platform for sharing of data, best practices in sustainable fisheries management. We will be looking for like-minded countries who are willing to work with us on this initiative. Another key theme that was discussed at length was addressing illegal, unregulated fishing. The UN Special Envoy has indicated that his offices will, as an action flowing from this conference, undertake to push forward to significantly broaden the base of countries who have ratified or intend to ratify this important agreement. And again, I would issue a call to action to those who have not yet done so. And thirdly, the need for capacity building, including skills and technology transfer, have emerged as a key theme this week. In discussions with several countries that I have had this week, We have indicated that we are willing to assist with such issues through the exchanges of information and staff. I would call on other countries with long histories of fisheries management, maritime safety and enforcement, and oceans technology development to make similar offers going forward. It is only through working together and leveraging the strengths each of us brings to the table that we will see the progress that we desire. This has been a conference of action. Over the course of this conference, we have heard repeatedly that international collaboration is needed to address many of the challenges facing our oceans and for us to effectively seize on the opportunities that are before us. J'aimerais également remercier
I would also want to thank those among you who are already sensitizing people around you at home, and you have been able to be joining us during this very important conference.
Those of you who are already taking action back home and came here to share what you are doing with us at the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference. On behalf of the Government of Canada, I would like to thank His Excellency President Kenyatta and Minister Juma and their government for the leadership they have shown in hosting this conference and for their commitment to the development of the sustainable blue economy. This conference has been an important platform for advancing conversations and actions relating to key blue economy challenges and opportunities. It has also contributed, I think, very significantly towards a shared understanding of the concept and building blocks of a sustainable blue economy. It is now up to all of us to ensure that we move forward from discussion to action that will move us quickly forward in the development of an inclusive, prosperous, and sustainable blue economy. Canada has been honored to co-host and to have provided assistance to Kenya as it convened this important conference. I want to thank all of you for your attendance and your active participation in this conference. Merci. Asante.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much, Minister Jonathan Wilkinson. The Honorable Wilkinson is the Minister of Fisheries, Oceans and the Canadian Coast Guard. Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, distinguished heads of delegation, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to invite Ambassador Peter Thompson, UN Special Envoy for Oceans, to present on the significance of the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference Future Action on the UN 2030 Agenda. Welcome, Ambassador Peter Thompson.
Mr. President, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all courtesies observed. What has this conference meant for the International Ocean Action Agenda? First thing that I take from this conference is that from this conference onwards, Africa is a central part of the global conversation on the need for ocean action. The second point I take from this conference is that we no longer talk about the blue economy without putting the word sustainable in front of it. That we've understood through what we've discussed here at this conference that the ocean and the lakes and rivers, the regional seas, are there for our grandchildren as well as for us. We must conserve and sustainably use for sustainable development the resources of the water bodies of this planet. The third thing that I would take from this conference, and I think it's been a real game changer, is that when we talk about the ocean, we're talking about the largest reservoir of H2O on the planet. But of course, H2O is also in the atmosphere, and it's also in our lakes and rivers. And what the Nairobi conference has done has given us that holistic view of water, that the source to sea principle is key for us as we go forward. Because most of our problems in the ocean may relate to climate change, but they also relate to human activity on land and what that is doing to our coastal ecosystems and our marine ecosystems. So that has been a central outcome also from the Nairobi conference, that going forward, we understand the holistic nature of the ecosystem in which humanity lives. Mr. President, it is true that the ocean is in trouble from effects of climate change and from pollution and from harmful fisheries practices. But the good news is that since 2015, we've had this universal plan, the Paris Climate Agreement, the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, and the mosaic of international agreements which support those two great universal agreements that humanity arrived at after many years of intense negotiation between us all. We must have integrity in implementing that plan. We have no other plan for humanity's place on this planet. In relation to that, I highlight SDG 14, the 14th Sustainable Development Goal, the ocean goal. And Mr. President, as you well know, 4 of the 10 targets of SDG 14 mature in 2020. That is why your government and the government of Portugal offered to host a second UN Ocean Conference in 2020 to assess our progress in implementing SDG 14. And we will come together. The groundwork is being prepared now in New York. We will come together in June in Lisbon, co-hosted and co-presided over by your government and the government of Portugal, and be led by you into the next game-changing phase for ocean action. And I suggest to you that that will be about funding. We have to start getting the reservoirs of funds which we know are sitting out there in the world into ocean action, down at the grassroots on our coastal communities, out on our seas and in our lakes and rivers. I commit, Mr. President, to carrying forward the outcomes of this conference, and they have been spectacular. We have not yet seen the list of commitments that have been made, but I know what they are, and they are spectacular, the commitments list that has come out of this conference. I commit to carrying that forward in every ocean meeting that I attend around the world between now and when we sit under your co-presidency in Lisbon in June 2020. The outcomes from the Nairobi conference must be known to the world, and I, as the ocean envoy in a different country every week of the year, will convey that message. Mr. President, I'd like to conclude with a quote from Shakespeare to at least give the impression that I received some kind of education back in my school days in Fiji. There is a tide in the affairs of men which, taken at the flood, leads on to fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries. On such a full sea are we now afloat. We must take the current when it serves, or lose our ventures. Mr. President, I believe we are on that full sea. We now have the awareness that action is required, and we must take that current, or we will lose our ventures indeed. We in Fiji say that we're all in the same canoe. There is no other planet for humanity to exist on. So we're all in the same canoe. We know what the destination is. We have that plan. Let's set out on that voyage. Let's get the sails up and make our way to that destination in 2030. And I very much look forward to taking the voyage with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Thompson. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to highlight the Blue Economy Conference, please allow us to show you a video that tells the story of Mombasa County in the Republic of Kenya. Enjoy.
Our deep blue ocean, a custodian of great treasures and wealth. For centuries, it has been a great source of inspiration, a frontier for exploration, a platform of enjoyment, a basket of nourishment, and a medium of economic rejuvenation. Like any other coastal town in Kenya, Mombasa is losing billions of shillings due to underutilization of marine resources, use of archaic and dangerous fishing methods, and illegal exploitation by unscrupulous shipping vessels.
Tatizo la kwanza ni kwamba hatuna vyombo. Ndio maana kama hivyo unavyoona soko yetu kaona hii aina ya samaki, hao ni samaki wa ufuoni tunaweza kusema. Kwa hivyo tukiwa tunaweza kupata uwezo wa kupata vyombo vikubwa zaidi, tunaweza kusonga kule baharini maji mengi zaidi mbali, tukaleta samaki wazuri, viboma, nguru, papa, fulusi, samaki kama hao.
With the annual blue economy global value standing at $24 trillion, we have promising opportunities to reap the benefits and claim our rightful market share of the trade.
We want to be able to showcase that which Kenya has, that which Kenya can do to exploit in a sustainable manner the resources of our blue economy.
Mega investment opportunities are available in water desalination, fish processing and value addition, marine renewable energy, and water transport.
Our business here as county is purely to facilitate for you to do business, to create a conducive environment for investment, because that really for us will mean jobs and poverty eradication. So we want to make it as simple as it is possible. Easy, responsive, innovative. It is what we want to do for you so that you can continue to thrive in your business.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, may I once again appreciate all 17,600 participants from 183 countries who have attended this first Global Sustainable Blue Economic Conference in Nairobi, Kenya. I also wish to recognize the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Kenya, the co-hosts, Japan and Canada, and the conference organizer, Sleek Sourcing Limited, professional conference organizers. Also, many thanks to the various sponsors who made this conference a success. Excellencies, honorable ministers, distinguished heads of delegation, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to invite Ambassador Monica Juma, Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, to invite His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya, to make his closing statement.
Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, honorable ministers, heads of delegations, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. I wish to thank Your Excellency, President Uhuru Kenyatta, for the wisdom of convening this global sustainable blue economy. The world has spoken from Nairobi over the last 3 days on the limitless possibilities available to us if we can all work together towards harnessing the enormous assets in the blue economy for our present needs and for the future generations. Moving forward, we are also in agreement that we need to utilize these resources in a sustainable manner. It is therefore my distinguished pleasure, honor, and duty to invite Your Excellency to officially close the conference so that we can go back and implement the commitments we have made to ourselves. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Monica. Your Excellency and dear friend and brother, President Danny Four, Republic of Seychelles, Your Excellency the Prime Minister of Namibia, our co-hosts, Canada, Japan, representative of the United Nations, and all the 14,000 delegates and participants who have joined us here in Nairobi. Let me say that I am truly grateful. It has indeed been a very unique opportunity for us over the last 3 days to be able to discuss issues related to our blue economy and the future of our shared planet. Over the last 3 days, thousands of delegates from 170 countries, including 2,000 participants who represented governors and mayors, over 1,800 business leaders, and over 1,000 scientists and researchers, as well as thousands of ordinary citizens, shared their knowledge and experiences and set ambitious targets and made very consequential decisions and commitments. I believe history will remember this as a conference that generated the momentum to harness the enormous economic potential of our blue economy, and at the same time, sound the alarm bells of its unsustainable exploitation. I believe each and every one of us will be an important part of that story. I want to thank each and every one of you for your innovative and practical contributions to this exciting agenda. The path towards our shared goals, I believe, is much clearer today. The truly global representation at this conference and its far-reaching and collectively beneficial outcomes have reaffirmed my belief and Kenya's belief in the transformative power of multilateralism. There is no problem that is too difficult to solve when we come together as a global community. In addition, we have an outcome, the Nairobi Statement on Advancing a Sustainable Blue Economy. The future efforts that we shall put in, such as the UN Oceans Conference that was referred to of 2020, that Kenya and Portugal will host, I believe will build on this statement to achieve the journey towards a sustainable blue economy. Let us work together to realize this worthy objective, and I believe it's the right thing for all of us to do. Moving forward, allow me just to highlight two messages. First, we have all committed to harness the full potential of our oceans, our seas, lakes, and rivers, to expand opportunities for all, create greater prosperity for countries, and to fight poverty. We have identified strategies to expand our economies, create shared prosperity, and increase revenue and job opportunities through ocean-based industries. We have also underscored the importance of doing this in a responsible manner. Some of the actions we have agreed upon, including putting in place solid environmental standards, strengthening programs to support poorer countries manage and recover from climate-related catastrophes, and ensuring more effective control of illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing. Illegal and unregulated and unreported fishing represents a major threat to our marine ecosystems, and it can hinder the recovery of overfished stocks and can push fishery to a point of collapse, thereby reducing biodiversity in some of our most important ecosystems. We've also agreed to strengthen political leadership and international cooperation, and have committed to work collaboratively on data analysis, information, and intelligence sharing to curb the illegal, unregulated, and unreported threat, as well as other threats to our marine resources. The availability of reliable, up-to-date, accessible data and information is essential as a basis for integrated and sustainable management of ocean and coastal resources. And I expect that as a result of this conference, this will emerge as an area of strong international cooperation. Second, we have also committed to protect these resources and to help them regenerate and to ensure they remain viable for the present as well as for future generations. Given the transboundary nature of oceans, international mechanisms for negotiation and collaboration are critical to prevent rolling back and also to help managing the threats. Managing oceans, lakes, and seas is complex, and it requires us all to put long-term common interests above short-term self-interest. Failing that, our waters could easily become the tragedy of the commons of the 21st century. The transboundary nature of the oceans and the fact that 2/3 of global waters lie beyond national jurisdiction requires us to put in place appropriate international mechanisms for negotiation and collaboration to ensure its sustainable management. And I am pleased to note that we have also agreed to build capacity in the poorer countries to more effectively patrol the seas and oceans and to access scientific and technology resources to strengthen overall maritime capabilities, including surveillance and stock taking. Let me conclude by saying to those who extended support, financial, technical, logistical, and also through participation, we as a country are most grateful. The conference would not have been possible without your vital contribution. It is now left to all of us in our different spheres of responsibility and work to implement the many contracts, commitments, and agreements, as well as partnerships that we have forged here in Nairobi. People of Kenya have appreciated making new friends as well as learning from you. On their behalf, and indeed on my own behalf, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. And let me reiterate that you have in us partners in the building of a greener, more peaceful, and fairer planet. I wish each and every one of you safe travels back home. But I will also take this opportunity to encourage those of you who have time, take some time out and view and sample some of the wonderful experiences that Nairobi and Kenya has to offer. If I didn't do that, the governor of Nairobi would have said, "Why are you sending people home?" So I have to make that point that he would like you to enjoy his capital for a few more days. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for coming to Nairobi, and together, let us build that future that gives us prosperity today while safeguarding the future for our children. Thank you for coming, and may God give you journey mercies back home. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, for that rousing call to action. Thank you very much, President Danny Ford of the Republic of Seychelles, for your passion and focus on the blue economy. We stay inspired by your words and ideas. We also pay tribute to you, Right Honorable Sarah Kugongelo Amadila, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia. Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, distinguished heads of delegation, ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause as Their Excellencies, the heads of state, depart this historic venue. And as they depart, I kindly request that we all remain in the hall. Asanteni sana. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as the Excellencies, heads of state and government depart. A round of applause, please. May I kindly request you to remain in the hall as the dignitaries depart. May I kindly request that you remain in the hall as the dignitaries depart. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, additional copies of the Nairobi Statement of Intent for Advancing the Promise of the Blue Economy are available at the left exit of the hall. The French version as well as the English version will also be uploaded on the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference website. Additional copies of the Nairobi Statement of Intent for